I want you to play a little game with me today. And at the end of this game, you will learn something that can significantly benefit your life as you get older. Hello, my name's Eric. I am a PT, a physical therapist. Been doing this a long time now. I specifically work with active seniors on how to increase their quality of life as they get older. And yeah, play along with me here. I want you to use your imagination and let's imagine that I'm 38 years old. So again, you really have to pretend here. I'm 38 years old, brief history, very, very healthy. I lift weights 3 days a week. I run a couple days a week for a mile or two. On the weekend, I like to get out, play golf with my buddies. I eat relatively healthy, maybe an occasional piece of cheesecake, but eat very healthy. No drinking, no smoking, no drugs. I do not have any medical conditions. I'm a pretty healthy guy. Let me show you how I get out of a chair at 38 years old. Okay, so I'm in my living room, 38 years old, knock at the door. Get up to go answer it. So one more time, 38, I'm in my living room, in my chair, knock at the door, get up and go answer it. Okay? Okay, stick with me. Still playing here. So now imagine that I'm 60. The only difference now is I'm 68. Everything else remains the same. I'm still lifting 3 days a week, still jogging a couple days a week, still playing golf, eating well, no drinking, no smoking, no drugs, no medical conditions. The only difference now is I'm 38. I'm 30 years older. Let's go back to the living room, back to the chair. 68 years old. There's a knock at my door. I go get up to answer it. You see that? Okay. Let me just show you back to back now so you can see the distinction. So 38 years old, knock at my door. All right. 68 years old, knock at my door. Well, I think you all saw it. It may be subtle. You may think that's a subtle difference, but there's a lot of significance here. What has happened over those 30 years? Remember, I've been very disciplined, very diligent on staying healthy, lifting, running, eating healthy, no drugs, no smoking, none of that stuff. I've been very, very healthy over 30 years, but I have still slowed down. You could see my rate of progression, my transition to standing, my rate of walking, my standing stability. All that has decreased. I've slowed down. I'm older, right? It happens as we get older. But what specifically has changed? Why have I slowed down? Remember my history. I've been very, very healthy, but yet I'm still slowing down. What's happening? Why am I slowing down? It's because I no longer can produce the same amount of power as I could when I was 38. Power being the ability to generate, to gather a lot of strength and then use it very quickly as required to get out of a chair. I've lost some power, and our ability to generate power is derived from these magical muscle fibers. They're type 2 fast twitch muscle fibers. They allow us to produce power, but unfortunately, as we get older, these fibers atrophy. We lose them, and consequently, we lose power, we slow down. But remember, I've been very healthy. I've been exercising. I've been doing everything that, quote unquote, I should be doing. But what did I miss? What have I missed? I have not done anything to isolate, to stimulate those fast twitch muscle fibers. Not lifting weights, not running a couple miles twice a week, not golfing, not eating health. All that history I told you about, none of that has isolated those fast twitch muscle fibers. So my rate of atrophy with those fibers has been on a continual nosedive year after year, decade after decade. I never did anything specifically to train those type 2 muscle fibers, to stimulate them so I could slow down that rate of digression, of losing power. Why is this important? Why? You may say, well, okay, we're slowing down. Let me show you what happens if I stay on that same decline, that same progression of losing power. Now I'm 85 years old. I'm 85 years old. I'm still in the same living rooms, still in the same chair. There's a knock at the door. 85 years old now. I get up to answer the door. Yeah, I've lost even more power, and now it's having a direct influence, a direct effect on my ability to complete everyday activities. I'm talking about all the basics: getting out of a chair, out of bed, out of shower, stairs, curbs, off the floor, picking up a grandkid, picking up a gallon of milk, picking up luggage, all of those activities that we take for granted now are all going to be based on our ability to produce power in our later years. If we continue on that steady decline of losing power, when we get into an advanced older age, those everyday activities are going to be very challenging. They're not going to be safe. We're going to lose quality and independence of life. What am I trying to tell you? I'm trying to tell you that you have to start doing exercises that specifically stimulate those type 2 muscle fibers. So that decline of power as we get older, we can start to mitigate. We can start to lessen that nosedive so that when we're older, when we're in those advanced ages, we can still safely complete everyday activities and hold on to our quality and independence in those later years. You have to prioritize power-based exercises now if you want to have that ideal life, if you want to live life on your terms later on. What can you do? You can start today doing power-based exercises. You do not need equipment. You just need a little space. You can do them anywhere. As long as you are not in pain or have any medical contraindications to exercise, you can start doing power-based exercises today. And again, that can make such a difference in your later years. So many active seniors in the right mindset are doing everything they can so they can have that ideal life. But so many, and I've witnessed this too many times, heartbreaking, are missing this power-based piece. They're not isolating those fibers, and consequently, they're nosediving. They're losing that ability to produce power. What can you do? Here's a great one you can start today. We can go back to the living room, back to the chair again. Just a little toe tap. You can get a chair, and you can modify these based on where you are in terms of your ability today. This is kind of a high chair to start. Power-based exercises. Three components of power-based exercises. They have to be weight-bearing. They have to be a full body movement, and you have to start to ramp up your speed as you get more mechanically sound with the movement. So a little toe tap on the chair, right? I'm just going to alternate back and forth. I'm going to raise a leg and my opposite arm, and I'm going to alternate to the other side. So I'm weight bearing. It's a full body movement, and that third piece of the puzzle is so important. The speed component, the speed aspect, because it is the speed of movement that really starts to stimulate those type 2 fast twitch muscle fibers. Safe and sound first, right? Safety first. You have to be able to control this movement and be mechanically sound first. Once you start to get to that point, you can start to increase your rate, the speed component, that really important, that vital piece of it. You can start to increase the rate of the movement. Pretty good for an 85-year-old, right? Not quite. There's a great example of an exercise you can start. Again, modify it as needed. You can use a little step stool. You can even just get on your kitchen counter and start doing high steps. Weight bearing, full body movement, and you have to start gradually ramping up your speed. Those are the components for power-based exercises. Makes all the difference in the world. If you are not doing these, again, as I demonstrated with our little game, Life is going to get very challenging in your older years. And I think we all have that ideal of living life with quality and independence as we get older and older. Of course, we all want that. Hope that's helpful. Start today, please, please, please. If this is interesting to you, if you have questions, I will put my email down below. Shoot me an email. Happy to respond. If you want more of this, I've designed a 30-minute video course on power-based exercises. I call it the Core 7, where I, in great depth, go through these 7 best, I feel these 7 best power-based exercises that all active seniors should be doing today, again, with that goal in mind of living life on our terms as we age. I'll leave information about the Core 7 down below. Thanks for playing the game today. I hope this resonates with you. Again, it can make all the difference in your world. Thanks for watching. I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.